What's up, guys? So today I want to talk about these guys, and I watched the Jaystwocents video just recently, and he went over the new motherboards and the problem with the market. And I have a lot of kind of feelings towards that. I've had very similar problems. I've had customers with similar problems, and so I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of his video and just explain. Not only is he 100% correct that the market is totally messed up, but that it seems like we're getting a lot of bad hardware. So before I go deep into this whole thing, let me explain something. I'm not a shill. I don't specifically care about companies. I do have like my preferences. I like the Asus BIOS, so typically I do go with Asus ROG. It's fancy looking. MSI has had like really good warranties over the years. I've also picked their boards, but a lot of people hate them. So it's like this really weird thing where when you're buying a motherboard, there's a pretty good chance you'll get a decent one, but occasionally you'll get a dud, and you'll see those reviews show up in things like Amazon. You know, this board sucks, it doesn't post 1 star. But like, not everyone is going to have that experience. But the one thing I have started to notice recently, and I had to upgrade my personal rig to this board. I didn't go for a D5 board, I just went with the D4. I was keeping my old memory, and I had to replace this board 3 times, and that's a problem. Now I know what some of you are going to say. Why are you stupid? Why would you buy the same board over and over again? Well, this board specifically has a black and a white version. The black version is the DDR5 model, and it's the perfect price gap. It's $375, which it's not the low end like the tough model, which shouldn't be called a low end board. That board is $250+, and it's not the $600-700 like Apex or any of those crazy motherboards out there. The reason why I kind of got stuck with this one was the return policy was in a specific time, and all they had from Asus was this model to replace with the DDR4. So let's talk about what happened with my board, and then I'll kind of go over what happened with a lot of customer boards within the last couple of years. So my board specifically was good. The first board I got was good, but I unfortunately had an RTX 4080 from Zotac, one of the most questionable companies, go bad. And during that process, I had upgraded my entire computer, all of the components, motherboard, the RAM I didn't upgrade, but motherboard, CPU, power supply, the video card, everything had been pretty much overhauled. So when the card was going bad, I didn't know where to start, and instead of troubleshooting like for hours on end, I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go get new parts. I still had the return window open, and I went back to the store. Micro Center was awesome. They hooked me up with a new one, and the only thing that I had to replace through RMA was the Zotac 4080. So the problems I was experiencing when the 4080 was installed was like a random green screen or hard lockups and freezes. So it was going to take a long time to troubleshoot, and I had a window. I returned the stuff. The other boards had weird problems. For an example, one of them was a bad memory channel. The other board had a bad Intel 226 NIC, which basically just meant that my internet, no matter what, I couldn't get to work. So going on from that, I also had other customers coming to me that had bought stuff, or even friends who had bought things in recent months. One of them was a friend of mine, Min, who picked up a Z690 Hero, and that board specifically had a bad audio output. So pretty much like if you want to run the front panel audio, it just wouldn't work no matter what. And he tried all sorts of things, installations, drivers, etc. So one thing that Jay touched on in his video, he spoke basically about how much has changed on these boards, and a lot of them, if anything, have lost features. Maybe they have software features or new things that are like baked into the BIOS, but something like this old board here, which was closer to $300 back in the day, was pretty high end. You have all these PCIe slots, and I know now you have NVMe, and NVMe kind of overtook the PCIe slots, and not many people are running SLI or having like multiple cards. It's just SLI's dead. So I understand why they did some of those things, but there's not a huge reason to bring the price to double the cost, and that is something that is a problem. And just to add a little bit of proof to this whole they just recently did this price gouging situation, here's a board from not that long ago, a couple of years back. This is a 9700K. This was a spec down from the top of the line. This is a Hero Maximus. It's a Z390. And this board, MSRP, I believe, is around $290, if I'm correct. I'll throw it up on the screen. But this was, at one point, probably like the most high-end besides the Extreme Edition. And a lot of people would buy this for a really nice custom loop. And it's like going from 300 to all the way up to $1,000. Like, this is not the iPhone versus the Samsung Galaxy. These are just motherboards, and I just think it's ridiculous. I don't know. I might be, maybe I'm crazy for not understanding why the new ones are so expensive. I know that some of them have like mono blocks built in to cool the VRMs and the CPU, and those are pretty cool. And if you look on EK's website right now, you can get a decent one for like $500 with everything combined. And when the mono block itself is like $200, it's actually not that bad of a deal. But going back to like these new boards and all the problems that have been happening, I just think that the industry is like, it's like after 2020, they just started pumping stuff out. There was a shortage. They needed to get hardware out fast. Look at what Asus did not that long ago with the capacitors on their boards being backwards, and they were like literally starting fires. Now, they were pretty good about that. They were able to fix a lot of them, but that was pretty bad. You also had the EKWB and Asus situation where their VRM solution was having corrosion inside on a Formula Z690 board, which was like a very expensive board when it came out. So these problems are out there, and they've been out there in the past. I'm not saying that like these things don't happen. We also have new volumes. If you look at something like the PCMR group, it went from being pretty big to like now massive because tons and tons of people were buying PCs during the 2020 pandemic and so on. So it's a different market out there, but I also feel like the quality has gone down, the quality control has gone down, and I don't want to seem like I'm attacking Asus. It's not just Asus, it's a lot of other companies. Many customers have had problems too, everything from BIOS updates. A lot of people are having issues with the new AMD boards. There's just weird wonkiness, and that's going to come because you're on the bleeding edge, you're buying into a new platform. But my point is, why? Why are we spending $700 on a motherboard? I know not all of you are that dumb, and I'm not even trying to call somebody dumb for doing it. Some of them are pretty cool. I particularly like that Formula board. I thought it was pretty sick. And if you have the money, I guess do it. But I don't think that Asus should be charging $700 for a Formula board just because it has plastic all over it and it looks pretty. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you want to check out a cool $200 custom loop I just built, it's sitting right here. I'm gonna be giving it to the owner very soon. It's kind of a wacky video, but I'll leave a link in the description. And that's gonna do it. Peace out. Bye.